Hello, good evening, welcome. Hopefully you can all hear me okay. We start things a little different. Can I hear me? There we go. We have got sound. Everything is good. Normally we have a technical issue every week, and this week, fingers crossed. I don't want to jinx it too soon. We're not going to have that. Tonight's guest is a fantastic gentleman. Oh, Natasha Stanley is here already. Wow, early. Yes, we're 1 minute early. Oh, that's me. That's me rushing, is that? But it'll give us a chance for people to jump on board. So, yes, all is well. Richard Cole, what's shaking? Oh, I quite like that as a greeting. I was watching a thing earlier about interesting greetings, and one of the weirdest ones is it was like when you're sending somebody a message that how's you or how you doing is quite a lazy introduction. And one of the ones that I heard that I absolutely love, which is very English as well, is how do you do? So I'm going to start incorporating that in any messages and emails that I send now. It's going to be how do you do? But I do like the what's shaking. Anyway, I digress. Tonight's guest has made the transition from a hypnotherapist to a stage hypnotist. He has a golden voice. When you hear this guy speak, if you close your eyes, you would go, this man is a hypnotist. He doesn't need to do inductions. He doesn't need to do suggestions. You hear his voice and you are taken away on that journey. He's a fantastic guy. He is known as the gentleman hypnotist, which is a fantastic way to kind of push your stage stuff because it implies that kind of that niceness, that safety, security and trust in his volunteers. He has just put on his first theatre show and delivered a phenomenal promo video from that. So tonight we're going to talk to him about his learnings, the challenges he's faced and everything else. So please put that round of applause emoji in the comment section for the gentleman hypnotist, Mr. Tony Charles. There he is. Tony, how are you?
Well, very.
It's absolutely great.
Hey, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are.
Fantastic. And Tony, tell us, where are you joining us from?
I'm joining you from the Costa del Sol, just in the middle of Torremolinos and Marbella, a place called Fuengirola, just on the outskirts. So yeah, it's a chilly 16 degrees.
Well, I don't know what the temperature is here, but it's about to snow. So when you say chilly, 16 degrees, I will swap you in an instant for that as well. Natasha Stanley says, hey. Richard Cole says, hello. Natasha Stanley says, Tony. And working on a complete rebranding, she says. So, yeah.
Yes, definitely. At the moment, we're in the middle of transition, so rebranding.
Yeah, I mean, it's an important thing to do to continually evolve and change as your brand evolves and changes. Because when you're finding your feet as a hypnotherapist, a hypnotist, or in any business, it is kind of important that your brand grows as you grow. So, tell us about, Tony. What was your first experience with hypnosis? How did you discover it? What was your, what kind of piqued the interest for you?
I think basically back in the 90s, I was originally a crane operator, got made redundant, ended up in the world of sales purely by accident, and thought I'll give this job a month and then I'll find a proper job. Eventually carried on working sales and thoroughly enjoying it, just learning little nuggets, dealing with people, working with people, understanding language as well, which is quite important. But it was all new to me, and I just went along with it. So we had a wonderful end of year conference, and it was in Norwich, and I came across this chap called Ken Webster. And he initially gave us the end of, everyone gets an award, everyone wins this, the recognition of the hard work that people have put in through sales, which is wonderful. And I just sat there and I couldn't believe what was happening. All my friends around me, who I knew, weren't, sort of, I know that their personalities were great, but however, when they got on stage, it changed them differently. And then other people I saw, who you could hear in the, I'm not going up, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. And as soon as they went up there, they just they looked like they were having a fabulous time. But I couldn't actually understand the correlation between someone talking to somebody and then somebody doing something as a result of that. And from that moment, it kind of piqued my interest, and then just left it. And just left it. And one of those things, I saw the show, great, it was fantastic. And then it was, that was the first start for me. I then got more interested in how to use words through sales, but not in a horrible, oh, I'm here to sell you something, madam, I'm going to knock on your door and you're not going to leave until you sign a bit of paper. I was completely the opposite. My cancellation rate was kind of very, very zero. So I much appreciated the fact that words could be used in a very gentle way.
Yeah, it's one of the things that whenever I speak to kind of hypnotherapists that ask me for recommendations for books and stuff like that, I always kind of say, once you've done your training, once you've learned your bits and bobs and you do your CPD and that, spend your money on sales books, because the amount of money and investment that went into learning language patterns to improve sales and marketing is a lot greater than what went into it to improve people's well-being as such. There's more of an incentive for corporations to put funding behind that. So I always kind of say, learning sales, good sales, is as important as learning other language patterns, because I mean that's what it is. It's using the words to take somebody on a journey as well, and especially if you're doing it in a nice way. So what took you from?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, go on.
Sorry, go on.
What took you from sales to hypnosis?
It's a really long story. I'll try and press it as much as I can. Basically, 2013 came out here after working in sales for a long time. Came to Spain and bought a mobility hire business.
Nice.
Working 7 days a week, looking after the tourists, taking care of them. But it had been for the last 20 years. I'd always been working, and that life balance, that work-life balance, was missing. Yeah. So prior to COVID, prior to the lockdown, I actually decided to make a decision for me to change my direction, and that Ken Webster just knocked in my head. I said, hang on, that's hypnotherapy, that's hypnosis. Let's go for it. At that time, I didn't know where I wanted to go with it. So I just said, right, let's just try and find what we can about hypnosis and hypnotherapy. Because if I can have a business without stock, without premises, without too much hassle, basically, and be able to give someone a good service and also have the time to live my life, that's when it kind of, so it was about a year before lockdown I'd made the decision. And then we did all the, like I'm sure we all do, who can I learn from? I mean, I'm an older chap, so I'm not the young guy who wants to learn the ins and outs of everything. I'm an older chap, so I'm kind of thinking, could that work to my advantage? And it has done, because people think I've been doing it for years because I've got grey hair. The fact that they don't know, the fact that I'm not letting them know, and the fact that they don't know the difference at the end result is fantastic. That I'm kind of getting away with it, and I feel I am. So yeah, it was the COVID thing that really said, Tony, sort yourself out. What do you want to do? What do you want to do for you?
Yeah.
And hypnosis was the key.
Yeah, it's such a great point. Then you said that, it's like, what do you want to do for you? There's so many people that get stuck in a path in their life that isn't for them. It's just where they've ended up, rather than kind of doing what you want to do and what you enjoy doing. Now, it's interesting there that you kind of say that, you started a year before lockdown and then kind of done this, whereas especially within the hypnosis community, there's this thing of this person's been a hypnotist for 57 years, and this person. But I think the reality is it's not about time spent. It's about how well that time is spent doing it. And I've seen the progress that you have made, and it's been astounding. Your promo is outstanding, and you did something that I tell everybody that they should do, and that's spend some money on a good promo reel, because that's the thing that will sell you, not just to bookers and clients, but it's what sells you to the volunteers, the potential people that are going to join you on stage. So how was that? How was organizing that show?
That was actually amazing. Put a positive to a negative situation. So COVID came along and actually ruined everything. And so what I'm doing is I'm starting from scratch, as in the business wasn't able to sustain itself. And so I had to work by the old-fashioned way of doing things, by knocking on doors, asking people to do things. Can I do this? To cut long story short, I had no money. That's the bottom line. So we're now starting from necessity being the mother of invention and all that kind of stuff. So I had this one lined up, and it was a Lions Day. I was trying to do something for charity. I was getting paid for it as well. But I was doing something for a charity too. One person then said, "Oh, you want to speak to this chap who videos things?" So he said, "Okay, speak to him." I spoke to him. He said, "I don't want to do that video there. It's not right for you. It's not this, it's not that, it's not the other, and you can't afford it." I said, "Okay, fair enough." He said, "Well, what you can do, he's a magician, and he has his own tiny little theatre, wonderful 50-seater theatre, that he does his own magic shows, but he's also a professional photographer, videographer." He said, "Tony, have my theatre, sell 50 tickets for €10 each. Whatever money you get, I'll take, plus the money you get from the show that you've done at the Lions Club, and we'll do you a theatre. We'll do a theatre setting. I'll edit the video, I'll film the video, I'll write the theme tune, sing the theme, whatever it is he needed to do, he would do it." And we ended up with 3 or 4 minutes of what I think is for me, it's the first time for me having a promotional video. So it was basically knocking on doors, speaking to the right people, and singing for my supper. I had to do the show to pay for the actual result of what you see.
Brilliant. I will pick you up on that when you said I just basically did this. You did the hardest thing that, for me, from my experience, the hardest thing that stops most people from becoming successful, especially at performing hypnosis. You actually went out there and looked for work. A lot of people, I find, will do the training, they'll get a connection from a friend, they'll put on a show in a venue, and then aggressively wait for the emails to come in. And they don't understand why. They'll put a video that they filmed on the phone on YouTube and then expect all these calls to come in, and it doesn't happen. But what you did is go, "Do you know what? I'm going to knock on some doors. I'm going to ask people for shows," and you're going to push that. And that's the best way. In fact, it's the only way to get it out there. And not only that, you then use that to create this show reel that I think is phenomenal. The quality of it is brilliant. It's obviously done by a professional. It's spot on. And I know a guy here in the UK. He's not been a guest on the show yet, but that's exactly what he does. He goes out there, he looks for the venues he wants to work at, and then prospects them, sells to them, prospects to them, and gets bookings. And there's so many people that think that what we do is easy and that all the bookings just come in willy-nilly. Now, you just sit back and all the inquiries happen, and it takes a lot of work for that to happen. And that show reel is brilliant and will open a lot of doors for you. So yeah, well done on that. What was the?
No, thank you. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is just now stage where I'm to, when the new website's ready, the Tony Charles hypnosis.com website, and knocking the doors and even more. But at this time, I have a calling card. I can just, instead of me saying, "Oh yes, I can do this, I can do that," I can actually leave something and then be allowed to follow up because I've left something. Did you watch it? Did you see this? What did you think of it? I've got another foot in the door because I've actually, instead of, I know cards are fantastic and this and that, but unless people can actually see something, they don't actually believe it. So that's where I'm at the moment.
And do you think that your foundation in sales and business is what brings you to that place? Because I think that learning hypnosis and the doing the hypnosis is the easy bit. The bit that people don't understand is exactly that. And Richard Cole says it perfectly. He says, hustle, hustle, hustle. It's that bit of knowing about having a foot in the door, following up for that kind of lead, creating that rapport with the client. So do you think your sales background, has helped you with this?
I think what happened to me as a salesman has definitely helped. I haven't, and this is going to sound, I haven't read a sales book. I haven't read this. I've only just followed. If I'm very much monkey see, monkey do. The chap who was selling the most, I wanted to speak to him. The chap who was in the corner asking for a fag, I wanted to stay away from him, or a cigarette, or borrow some money, or borrow petrol money. So I wanted to stay with it, and it just became natural to use a positivity without actually realizing it. But I think the best thing is understanding rejection, and that's the biggest thing. If you can handle rejection, it doesn't matter what people think of you. It's not your business what people think of you. It's how you go around and accept the no's. Because if you get enough no's, eventually you'll get a yes. And it's having that thick skin. It's having that, nothing's going to. You can spend a day speaking to 100 people, or you can spend a week speaking to no one. You can spend a day speaking to 100 people and 6 days off speaking to no one. It's whatever you want to do to get in front of that person, but being able to handle the rejection. And I think that's the biggest thing I learned from sales. People will say no to you.
Yeah. A business coach friend of mine, Gareth Boot, he's an NLP guy and a sales guy. And again, a guy who was successful rather than talked about success. And he was like, people have that fear of the close, the fear of the rejection. So they'll keep talking with people even though they're not qualified as such. But every no, every rejection, that's a thing to be pleased about, because you've saved time and you're on to the next person that could be a yes. So the more rejections you have, the more failures you have, the closer you are to success. And that's how you've got to go. So Roy Miller's here as well. He says, good evening. Yeah. Natasha Stanley said.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed myself on.
Say that again, sorry.
Put my glasses on. I say I'm in the middle of changing from glasses to contacts, contact lenses, but I'm poking myself in the eye more times with the contracts. I'm getting old. What can I say?
Do you know what? It takes some getting used to. I always wear contacts when I'm on stage or doing a live stream. I'll always wear my contacts because I'm vain. It's not that. It's because the lights reflect off the glasses. But that transition of learning to poke yourself in the eye takes a lot. Now I can be in the car, not driving, but I can be in the car outside a venue and I can just pop them in. That's fine. But yeah, tell us about your stage attire. I mean, I've seen a couple of the video clips. You look the part. You come on to the right music. What was the inspiration behind that? How did you come up with the Gentleman Hypnotist?
But basically everyone's saying it's very hard to. This is one of the other things that's very hard to talk about myself as well. Everyone says how polite I am, how courteous I am, and I think that's it's a thing that's within me. And if I were in any situation, yes, I will open the door, whether it's correct or not, or however people perceive opening the door for a woman is these days. I will try and make sure the person is right. It came from other people talking to me and say, "Oh, you're a right gentleman, you are," especially from the older ladies. And I enjoyed that. The act of chivalry, the day of chivalry, I still want to keep. I still want that to be alive. I still want it to be around. And I think, well, looking at when I was researching hypnosis, hypnotherapist, especially stage hypnotherapist, there was that little, maybe we're not quite sure about him.
Yeah.
And I wanted to portray just something slightly different. I say I'm a gentleman hypnotist, I'll probably do exactly the same sketches as everybody else does. However, just using that one word could possibly just relax. Oh no, he's a gentleman. And I can use it in my front talk. I will not allow you to be degraded or be disrespected anyway. You'll not regret coming up here because I'm a gentleman. I want to look after you, take care of you, look after your safety, make sure everything's 100%. And it's using that as a word. I wanted a tagline: is starting a business or a new business. everyone's got a tagline. Well, what tagline can I use? Oh, I know, I'll just, I typed it out, see how it looked, and it was purely to try and make as many people as comfortable around me as possible without saying anything. And to me, that was that was the important thing.
Yeah, and it absolutely does that. Like I say, Tony Charles, the gentleman hypnotist, you already feel safe, and then when you add to that the tonality when you speak, I know I'm in a safe place, and to deliver that in just that one tagline is really clever. And like you said, in that space of stage hypnosis, especially us older guys as stage hypnotists, there is that uncertainty sometimes people have about what's going to happen. Are they going to make me take off my clothes? Are they going to do this? So to deliver that in that way is really good. And what's really good is you've discovered that so early on in your stage career as well. I started out and I did the whole, I did more adult stuff that I would never do now. Because that got a laugh back then because I didn't understand how to entertain people. So yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. So yeah. And it's I know we met when you came over from Spain to South Yorkshire, the centre of the universe, and met with a few other hypnotists whilst we were doing like a workshop thing, which was fantastic to meet you there. Yeah, it's been brilliant. So what's next for you? I know you're doing some.
I think also as well.
Oh, so I'm getting cold on calling myself an older guy. It's a perspective thing, I think.
I think as well, using the term or using the phrase or my persona, whatever you want. I still haven't discovered who I am as a stage hypnotist yet. I've only done 4 shows, 4-page shows. So I'm still figuring out how to turn the microphone on when I'm hitting somebody on the head with an induction. I'm still trying. Do I stand to the left? Do I stand to the right? But I'm just loving every minute of it because whatever I'm doing, I'm getting people into hypnosis. And to me, that's the biggest thing. All the rest is all the fluff, all the flower. But I'm now discovering that. And to use the term, the gentleman hypnotist, almost like a cad, the gentleman cad. I still want to retain that little bit of, not the blue stuff, not the. But is there a possibility because I have grey hair and a gentlemanly manner, I can just get away with just a tiny little thing, just on the right side of entertainment and good. I won't do the blue stuff. I'm not going to do it. It's not within my nature. I want to make sure I'm taken care of. But just came back from a show last night. Show. There was 23 people in a bar that was closed off, and it took 2 minutes for me to say, "Everyone, fill the chairs." No one filled the chairs up, and it was one of those tumbleweed moments where it was like, okay, and then 4 people eventually came up. 2 I dismissed more within 5 minutes because they were just there. But the other 2 that went into hypnosis was fantastic. So thoroughly enjoyed that. Where I'm going now, I need to get more rehearsals. I need to understand where I am, who I am as a stage hypnotist. I want to go into the wedding market. I want to go into the corporate business market. I understand sales. The same excuses are going to be the same excuses from 30, 40 years ago as they are now. There'll be a reason. So if I can help telesales, if I can help marketing managers, if I can help team managers understand that, why people don't do things, even though they keep saying they want to. So if I can get into that, it's like the Anthony Getty stuff. The Anthony Getty stuff is fantastic. But to go into, there's lots of sales companies here on the Costa del Sol. So that's where I want to be eventually. Not yet. I'm not ready for that yet. I still have to do my craft. I've got so much to learn.
But you're 5 steps ahead of a lot of other people. You already have that goal in mind. You know where you're going. Your sat nav is set. towards there, and you know how you're going to get there. And can I just say as well, like doing a show with just 23 people in the audience, you know, I know some of the Americans watching this, the thought of doing a show with 23 people when they're used to having 23 volunteers. But I think they're the shows where you cut your teeth as such. You really learn your craft when you ask for volunteers and no one's on stage. So yeah, how's that? What have you found to be the biggest challenge so far?
The biggest challenge for me is me. That's the biggest challenge. It's understanding me, where I want to be, how I want to go with it. It's almost like, and I'm not being assertive, I have to assume that if I get 3 or 4 people up on the seats, I can hypnotize them. I do that. The biggest challenge now is me and where I'm in this business and where I want it to be. I'm still knocking on doors and calling people up. You know, there's all this social media stuff which I don't understand. So I need the wonderful Natasha to help me with that. And where we go to the next stage, it's learning the craft and understanding me, how I can develop me as a stage person. Because I see all these wonderful people, you know, and they are they like that on stage at home, or do I just have to be me on stage and have fun with it? So I'm at that crossroads where it's going to stay me, but I need to develop it. If I stay me, it might be too boring for the audience. So I've now got to develop a little character as the gentleman hypnotist, and develop that. So, but that's still a long way off, because I still have to learn the craft. I have to know, judge, decide what I'm doing in front of that person, in front of that group, in front of that audience at that time. And the only way we can do it is by doing shows. So for me, it's to get another half a dozen shows under the belt to learn my craft, then get another half a dozen more. Then once I've done that, then I'll get another half a dozen more. And eventually it's starting to unravel. But at the beginning, right now, I'm a bit like a rabbit in a headlights. I give the impression to the people who have paid some money that they will get a good evening.
Yeah.
And because I believe that, that's what will happen.
Yeah.
As soon as I stop believing that, but myself personally, I need to just be more congruous to myself.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, you know, giving you lots of credit for this as well, that, you know, you do understand about creating a version of yourself that's on stage. A lot of people, when they first come to stage hypnosis, are carbon copies of their trainers. Same gags in the same spot, same personality, and it doesn't quite work like that, because you've learned from different people. You've got some good training in there. A quick plug there for the good training that you got in there. The people you surround yourself with, the right team around you, you're going on those stages as Tony Charles, the gentleman hypnotist, not as a carbon copy of somebody else. And you're already putting in your own ideas and your own kind of spin on things. So that is again puts you, you know, so far ahead of a lot of people. I say a lot of people that I know that have been working for years that aren't, you know, hiring rooms and getting professional show reels made, because you understand that's the important thing that's going to sell shows in the future. So the easy bit is getting in those reps, like you said, like going to the gym. You've got to do the reps. You've got to do the reps, and going on stage and doing different shows and repeating and repeating and repeating. You know, that will polish off, and then, you know, I'll be proud and pleased to say that I knew you, you know, back then, until you steal one of my shows.
Oh no, I've been watching your videos. But it is, I think it's someone new like me, and it's almost a brand new thing. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, I want to do this now. I want to achieve this now. how do I? And you have to look at the people. You have to stand on the shoulder of giants, and that's what I've done. So with Carl Smith, who taught me the hypnotherapy, with Michael C. Anthony, I bought a. It's all been all video downloads. I haven't actually, apart from yourselves, which I was wanted to get out of the country anyway, and Christopher. It was fantastic to take that video thing, because you're in your own home and you think, yeah, I can do this, I can do it. When you can't see the nuances, the little twist or turn, by seeing people, my eyes have bled so much just looking as much stuff as I can on YouTube, on wherever it is. And right, okay, and the more I do a show, I'm now wanting to look at more, because why did I go wrong there, or why did that not get a laugh, or what? And it becomes excuse me, it becomes now for me a mission to make myself a little bit different and to be original. I think we had an interview with Carl and on one of the Carl's Super Sundays, Carl Smith Super Sundays, and I jumped on the opportunity to talk to you. And I think one of the questions I remember was being original. You know, how can you be original? At what point do you do a sketch and you understand it works? And what I found now is you can't know if it works until you actually do it. And I kind of like that, because it's on the edge. It's wonderful, but it's trying to be original and yeah, thoroughly enjoying the progress that I am. I'm quite proud of them. In a very short space of time. Hence the going on stage as a character that I've never been on stage and acted. Two people dropped out of these two little roles at the local theatre, 300 seats. I'm going to do that because I want to see what happens I've never been backstage in a theatre. I've never been in the lighting booth or the where all the music buttons are pressed and everything. I had 5 days of being absolutely amazed. But while I was there, hypnotized loads of people for stage fright and remembering that I was just zapping people left. It was fantastic. So where I'm going next, it's still up in the air, still knocking on doors, still developing, still learning, and still looking at YouTube videos.
I saw you doing, I think it was a networking event where you had your banners up and you were doing demonstrations of hypnosis as well at a networking event. How did that go?
Yeah, that was fantastic. I should have a client from that. Basically, it was from the shows I did, I was invited to come to one of these. I'm going to say, I won't say bring and buy sale. It was like an event where local businesses came in, but they were bringing the business in and they were selling their wares. So to me, it's a bring and buy sale. I said, now one of the stall holders said, "Come on, let's sit down." On video saying, "Can I have your permission?" Videoed her, and then she said, "You can't use the video," which is a shame. However, her brother rang me up 2 or 3 days ago, literally 2 or 3 days ago, and said, "Oh, you hypnotized my sister. Her back's better. Got this blockage out of her head, and she feels fantastic. Can you come and sort my girlfriend?" So once we clarify that, then hopefully in a few days, I shall be having the from that as on a hypnotherapy side.
It's one of the things I kind of push out to hypnotherapists, that even if you have no intention of going on stage and being an entertainer, to understand the dynamics of stage hypnosis, to understand impromptu demonstrations of hypnosis, or learning to just stand up on a podium at a networking event and say, "I'm a hypnotist, this is what I do," and demonstrate it, is the best way to get clients for your therapy room. By standing up, and because you have a choice, you can work one-to-one with somebody or you can speak one-to-many, and more people get to learn about what you do. And it's not just those people. Like you said, the lady's brother contacted you as a potential client as well. So the word spreads from all those people. So it's so important to kind of get that out there as well.
Yeah, the Lions show I did 2 or 3 weeks ago ended up in me doing a show last night. So the person who saw the show or came to the show, said, "Can you do a show at
Yeah.
my premises?" So again, the ball, we're pushing the car very, very slowly at the moment, and it's kind of uphill, and that's where we're at. But from that place last night, I got chatting, I got talking, and it was the things will happen, things will develop. You know, as I say, want it to happen, let it happen, and it will happen. You know, make sure it happens.
Absolutely. Brenda Kay says, yes, Grant, well said. Brenda Kay is an awesome hypnotist. So, yeah, it's having the courage to stand up there, to be vulnerable on stage, and to kind of say, this is what I do. And like you said, it may feel at first like you are pushing the cart uphill slowly, but, you know, it just means you get 1 or 2 repeat clients from that and do a good show. That will create 1 or 2 more repeat clients. And next thing you know, all those repeat clients just fill that diary up. I have some people that book my show kind of pre-COVID every couple of years. Do you know what I mean? So that's 1 show every couple of years. But when you've been doing it a few years, they all add up. So it's about being in the market long enough. And most importantly, when you have a challenge or a speed bump along the way, you don't let that deter you, because you've got your, like you said, the Anthony Gailey stuff, you've got your business stuff in mind, in view to work towards, which is a great goal to have. So yeah, Anthony's a fantastic hypnotist as well. Again, somebody we had on this show earlier on, and always recommend watching that. Fantastic guy. So you mentioned earlier about your rebranding. What is it you're having done? Is it just the website?
Yeah, we're having the name change. We're having at the beginning, when you think, you know, when you started something, you're trying to think of all the clever names, and eventually you're not allowing things to develop. And I think I'm in the lovely position now where things have developed, and no, I don't really want that. But in the beginning, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to do that, and you're swept away very quickly with everything.
Yeah.
But you have to. That's what you have to, or what you have to do. So eventually, you came up with a wonderful name. My favorite uncle, his middle name was Charles. He passed away a little while ago. I want to use his name, Tony Charles. I can't use my name because it's an Italian name and it won't slip off the tongue and sound as good. So using a sentimental name, that's important to me.
Yeah.
So Tony Charles. We're then working with the Watcher. After meeting her at SMU, we're now going to go through apparently colours and this and all the social media stuff, which I have no idea about. Yeah. And then there's a guy who's making it. He's just starting out locally, who's making a new website, which will concentrate on the stage stuff, but will incorporate all the hypnotherapy stuff. I'm trying to kill 2 birds with 1 stone in the most loveliest possible way for the client.
Yeah. Natasha Stanley says he has just given me free reign. I think it's important to it's important to have people around you and trust the experts as well. I know when I first started out, I'm a control freak, so I wanted to do everything myself. I wanted to build my own website. I wanted to do my own pictures, and then eventually you realise that, you know what, it's more beneficial for your business for a professional to build your website and do all the stuff like that. It's the difference between like the promo video you've just had done. It lets the world see how professional you are as well.
But I also want to give value for money as well. Even though I've only just started, I want somebody to come to one of my shows or be in front of me and go away thinking, you know what, that was worth a few shekels. It was worth this. It was worth that. It doesn't matter what the value is. The value is, for me, they go away feeling good. They go away feeling happy or feeling fulfilled, whatever it is. And if they genuinely don't feel that way, I want to know why, so I can correct it and change it. There has to be okay. Well, obviously we're in a service industry. The service industry that I'm in before was to the tourist handing out mobility equipment. I wanted to make sure that person had the best that they could have. I don't know everything right now. I'm sure I will not be able to live long enough to know as much as I should do anyway. However, I want to have fun and I want to give value to the person coming to see me.
Yeah. It's no matter what you do in life, no matter what business you're in, having that mindset is a winning mindset. It's about giving value. It's about that person that pays to see a show or visits a show or volunteers or whatever it is, that they come away with more than what they came with. And as entertainers, sometimes it's difficult for us to see that. We kind of think, oh, do you know what? We just make people laugh. We had sorry, yeah, it's a great comment there from Brenda Kay. What a great attitude and openness to learn. That's great, Tony. There you go, fantastic. But yeah, it's about those people when they come to the show. They've got the stresses of work, the day-to-day life, all the things that are causing them grief. The time that they're in your audience is the time when they are transformed to somewhere else. And the power of making somebody laugh, or the power of making somebody go, wow, that's something amazing, is giving real value, if you know what I mean. So as long as you've got that mindset, you're always going to do well, because you're putting the audience first, you're putting the volunteers first. When it becomes it's just about the money, then it becomes a different mindset that's not as positive. So, yeah.
No, if I can look after as many clients in the theatre, in the seats, in the bar, as much as possible first, I don't have to worry about the money.
Exactly.
That's not an issue. But the problem I have at the moment is I don't know how to be an entertainer, because I'm not an entertainer. I used to be a crane operator. I used to be a van driver. I used to be a delivery. I don't know yet how to. I've got to learn that stuff. And this is where I'm having so much fun, which is why I wanted to jump on that stage at the time and just learn a bit about it when I was doing the. Well, look at the YouTube channel, you'll find out, and find out how to be. I don't know how to be an entertainer. I've never entertained, if that makes sense. We all have our corner in the pub where we tell a joke and think we're the best thing since sliced bread. But you put that on a professional level, put that in front of a camera, all of a sudden you forget how to walk. You don't know how to. Well, how should I walk? Should I walk this way or should I walk that way? And all of a sudden it becomes a different ball game. So I'm just so. I'm just not even scratching the surface of anything yet on the entertainment level. But as long as I can make someone giggle, I'm happy.
Exactly, and that's the mindset of an entertainer. It's like you said earlier about learning what works and why it works. Ken Dodd, a very famous comedian, I'm sure you've heard of Ken Dodd. But he had his notes, and he wouldn't leave the auditorium until everybody had laughed, and he wanted to know why that joke was funny and what made it funny and the timings and everything. And a lot of it is about that. But like you said, if you're having fun on stage and you're making people laugh, then you're entertaining people. So it's just about polishing that. Absolutely fantastic. So I mean, I mean, I must admit, I've had the pleasure of meeting you, and you are one of the nicest, people out there. And that moniker of the gentleman hypnotist is so very fitting as well. So you are 90% of the way, to being a absolute star. What's next for you? Have you got another show lined up in the near future?
No, because it's been full on for the last couple of weeks. I'm now going to concentrate on getting the website sorted, and then speaking with Natasha and getting that sorted, and decide where we go from there. So it's now having a little couple of days break from my season. No, it's just having a couple of days break from doing stuff and figuring out where I need to be business wise, and then if I can grab a couple of shows before Christmas, maybe. It's all about next year. It's all about next year. But if I can get one or two more shows in, for more practice, for me to learn one more stage to develop me, that's the next thing.
And you're in a good part of the world. You've got is it quite a touristy area, so you've got good footfalls of people. So you should be able to get those reps in relatively easy as well. So I do plan on popping over and seeing you at some point.
Well, now we've got no tourists. We have no tourists at the moment. That's the key. It's now dealing next year. That's one of the reasons why I want to get things ready for next year is because hopefully, let's say April, May, the tourist season comes back in. I'm now working with the expats, with the locals, but there's a very small pond. But I only need a small pond within that pond to work.
Yeah. Fantastic. Tony, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on. And it's nice to see the comments as well. Fraser Penman says, loved tonight's interview as well. Brenda Kay, again, great attitude and openness to learn. Natasha Stanley is saying how wonderful you are, and she's going to travel to Spain for work purposes. So, yeah, I'm going to put up a quick link to, where is it here? It's here. There we go. I'm just going to pop that up there. That is a link to your current website, but I know that's going to be changing in the next couple of days with a redirect on there as well. And just a quick little plug for me, that is a link to my Amazon store with all the books from presenters from the past and the studio stuff in there as well. And we are going to show you, as we come out of this show, Tony's show reel, which is a great example of even the colouring of this is absolutely fantastic. So, yes, before we leave, final words, Tony.
I just want to thank you for the opportunity, one, to meet you when I did with Christopher, to put things into sort of tangible things, not just videos. I hope to be around to show people that what I've been saying tonight will happen, because I want it to happen. And I want to have fun. If anyone's got any tips for me, I'm always open to criticism. I'm always open to people sort of saying, oh, don't do that, or oh, fantastic, do this. It's just a blank sheet at the moment I'm working with. And I just want to wish everyone all the best.
Fantastic, Tony. It was nice. Natasha kind of said it early on as well, that from seeing you do that first drop back at the training to then seeing the promo reel the other day. And Brenda Kay says great promo shot as well. So, Tony, thank you very much for joining us this week. It's been an absolute pleasure. And it's nice to kind of speak to someone kind of at the beginning of their journey, but on so many levels already well into that journey as well as a phenomenal hypnotist. I'm going to end the show by playing your promo. I'll put it on at the end just because in case there's any issues with music on Facebook. Please do follow Tony on Facebook as well. Find his YouTube channel, subscribe to him. And if you enjoy these, please do subscribe to my channel as well. I'm going to put this on here as well. But don't forget, hit that comment section with that applause for Tony and show him lots of support. And guys, thank you very much for joining us once again for Grant Talks Funny Bits.
Interlock those fingers. Are you ready for the next move? Fantastic. Everybody do this. Take a deep breath in. You know what to do right now. And hold it. Close your eyes. Now. And deep as deeper you go, the better you feel. And sleep going down deeper and deeper as you go into your hypnosis. Now. Deep as you focus on your own hypnosis. Now. Just letting everything go. And you can open your hands now. Getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Anyone's still stuck, refusing to open. 1, 2, 3, and open. There you go. It will just take you twice as deep as you are. And slowly down, twice as deep down. Put your circle on your chin now. Okay. There's your chin. Now, the audience. I know, just please take a seat. Your flamenco dancers. Everybody focus on my hand. Focus on my hand now, just focus. Just hold out your hand and this bottle will come forward to you. Will it want it to happen? And it will happen. And it will happen. And it will happen.
I just did this, thinking about it, and it was coming towards me.
I'll leave you alone, because obviously you don't like me. As soon as the music stops, you'll wonder what's going on and why you're on stage dancing with them up. Ouch! God, that's really... God. Really hurt my little finger, don't it?
Awesome. Awesome. It was great. The next time, I want to be on the stage.
Yeah, I loved it. It's great comedy. You know, first time for us to be in a Hypnotist show, and it was wonderful.
It was amazing. I really enjoyed that. I absolutely could not pull my hands apart. I'm still on cloud 9, mate. I'm all over it.
First experience. Now feedback. Oh my god. She was the fighter. It's absolutely brilliant. We very enjoyed it. Yeah.